How the old world managed to waste so many resources on vapid enterprises is beyond me. What is the point of keeping a record on all these useless topics? This isn't a library, it's a graveyard for pointless knowledge. Give me a year, and I'll sort out the 100, no, say 50 books worth keeping, while we cremate the rest and make room for a new chapter. The stupidity of these pre-war novels, in particular, are just too much for me to endure. I am still waiting for the database. What was the name of this wretched thing already? Arthur. To come up with actually valuable information.
So, how may I help you? Oh, great. I can't wait to know what, Oh dear. I don't need much time to digest this. Yes, but hey, I didn't forget your reward. Please, take this. You can cash in the study room. It's the little room where our master sleeps. Come back and tell me when you want to give me a hand with another guest. So, how may I help you? There is another guest I want you to investigate, Darren Andretti. On many regards, he was one of the most interesting guests we've had, but because of messy circumstances, I couldn't make a proper debrief with him. One night he became so badly drunk he began throwing insults at the books, us, and our mother. While the experience was very enriching from a vocabulary standpoint, we ultimately had to stop him before he blew up the entire bibliographies with C4. Well, he ended up being banned from this place, one of the rare times we had to resort to banishment. We feared he'd come back at us with a vengeance, so we confiscated a lot of his explosives and left him with but a few weapons. So the fact that he might reach the closest community, we offered him some valuables to somewhat compensate the prejudice. Economy, social studies, cognitive sciences, cybernetics, it barely made sense to us, but it looked like he knew exactly what he was doing. picked books in separate shelves, rounded them up, packed them with C4. A prospector, a raider, we were never quite sure on which side he was walking. What we did realize, however, is that he is extremely eager to educate himself and learn to read and write. We were all surprised by his sudden burning passion for literature, except Helena. For some reason, she hasn't the right to disclose that information to us. For all I know, he began keeping some kind of diary during his sojourn here. He said it was good writing exercise for him. Finding it could be a start. I will give you the key. He threw it at my face instead of giving it back to Roland. He liked to take long walks throughout the whole facility, and outside as well. He also spent a lot of time with Helena. She won't tell me much. God knows I asked her to talk about him. She wouldn't answer. Patient-therapist confidentiality. Of course. I will ensure you do once you have found something. See you around.
And you're back. Oh, sure. I knew from the first second this guy was bad news. Just like you, as a matter of fact. So I gave him a well-deserved hard time. He didn't even seem to mind that much, though. Isn't that interesting? No man with a clear conscience can put up with little old me. I remember that one time he didn't answer the door right away. I heard a very loud noise, and then a bump. The whole thing was muzzled by the door, so I couldn't quite make out what it was. And then when he just began answering, I'm like, "It's surprise visit time!" And every goddamn time, he'd open the door and let me inspect the room, and that's how I knew he was up to no good. Anybody normal wouldn't have put up with this. In the end, he didn't even answer what time it was anymore. He would just mumble, "Surprise visit time," bleh, and let me in. What a fool. Yeah, well, you're no saint either, my man. You tracked mud in here and you smell like shit. I mean, every bot in here has a smell sensitivity 1,000 times higher than a mere human, but they're too polite to say anything. Well, not me. Well, of course I've been helpful. I'm a gift from the heavens, after all. Come back soon.
Please move along. If you have any questions, James on the first floor will be happy to answer.
may I help you? I will help you as much as I can, as long as you don't ask me to breach medical confidentiality. He was one of my patients. As such, there is some information I'm not allowed to tell you. As a matter of fact, yes. Even out of our therapy sessions, he would often bring me books for me to read. The first times he asked was because he didn't know how to read. The next because he simply enjoyed hearing me, he said. Poetry and songbooks. It didn't matter to him that I couldn't sing. For some reason, said readings would make Roland come all the way here. Yes, I believe I still have one of those around. Well, why not? I'm enjoying reading poetry to our guests. The thought of you sends me shivery. I'm dressed in lace, sailing down a black reverie. My heart is thrown to the pebbles and the boatmen. All the time I find I'm living in that evening with that feeling of sticky love inside. The kick inside. That's because it's kind of visceral, I suspect. He was a young man who hadn't reached his 20s yet. By his own admission, he had a restless personality, a temper that didn't go well with community life. That's why he chose to become a prospector. He couldn't read at first, but during his stay here, he worked very hard and quickly became quite literate. Almost too quickly. You're welcome. Of course. Anytime.
Falling leaves were drifting by the window. Oh, you're here. Sorry. I was, well, how may I assist you? I don't know. It has no meaning. Should it have one? Because if that's the case, I gotta start looking for one. Yes? That's quite a disappointment, I must admit. But that doesn't explain why he wanted to wreck it. Maybe there's something we missed. I hope he still managed to get something out of his time among us. Anyway, your work is very beneficial for us. This is a small reward compared to the help you're providing. Thank you very much. This case is a little bit different than the others. This time I'll ask you to get the opinion of one of our current residents, a man named Robson. Yes, he's still with us. Given his cautious nature, it's not a surprise you haven't met him yet. He always tries to keep clear from new guests, and even from us lately. I thought he stayed here only to sate his curiosity, but given his recent behavior, I'm starting to wonder if there's anything else behind it. From what I gathered, being a ghoul is not the fairest of fates. Exactly. Many of our guests leave some kind of trace during their stay here, usually in the bathroom. He should be of no exception. For example, I remember he tends to forget his glasses everywhere. Memory troubles, I believe, and he also has a tendency to say some pretty weird things from time to time. Every once in a while, he would stand up there on the second floor, point his finger at me, and make prophetic declarations. Something like, "Autumn leaves never stop falling," or "The strings are cut but you still dance." Confusing, I know. Good thing I cannot dream, because I would have had nightmares. I really don't see him much. For all I know, he could be hiding in a toilet or behind some bookshelf. I really couldn't find him anywhere. I sometimes hear footsteps in the nearby corridors, though maybe one of my siblings is bound to know something, since we don't have feet. It is kind of suspicious. I don't know what kind of answer I can give. Does he look dangerous? No. Does he have a knife? Yes. Yes, he does. I should have mentioned that before. I wish you luck anyways. See you around.
a mind mangled, a face obliterated, replaced by a terrible, unforgivable caricature, a twisted remnant of a bygone era. He looked all his life for a mirror where he could look at without seeing the scars left by a mankind gone mad. He eventually found it here. At long last, he looked at his own lost humanity in a way that made him at peace with where he came from. Five friends, caught in a diluvial rain, sheltered under a tree and pitched some money together. One of them faced the rain to go buy an umbrella. He survived the ordeal, perhaps because he was the only one gone when the thunder struck the tree.
How may I help you? I will help you as much as I can, as long as you don't ask me to breach medical confidentiality. Robson? He has been staying here for some time now, and despite having showed a tremendous interest for this place, he is very discreet. I have sporadic contact with him, even if he is my patient, so I may have to withhold some information from you. Confidentiality, you see. I believe that before he came here, he earned his life as a musician. He was traveling from New Vegas to Prim when he spotted some raiders. By trying to bypass their camp, he found our vault. I must confess that I can't seem to do very well with him. All I can do is provide him Med-X for the pain. He is developing a brain tumor I have trouble diagnosing. Apparently it has something to do with his ghoul condition. He has also reported various hallucinations. One of our previous guests reported that some ghouls were suffering from such a condition. I hope a cure will be found. Many ghouls are the living memory of the past. You do have a point. I can't tell you what or why, but he is suffering from a very difficult condition and is under heavy medication. He is prey to violent headaches and mild hallucinations. Thank you for your attention. Of course. Anytime.
Back again! Robson! Oh, you mean skin cancer? Yeah, not here. No, actually, the other way around, pal. It's important that you don't. Hey man, if you can't joke about things like that, you'll go crazy. Crazy. At last. Now get lost. You're shedding your filthy skin cells all over the place.
What is it now, Roland?